Chronicles, a captivating podcast that brings together gaming, cannabis, and engaging conversations.
What is up, levelers? Welcome back to another episode of High Level Chronicles. I'm your host, Chris. With me, as always, my partner in crime, my digital dungeon crawler, the one and only Paul. What's good, my guy?
Hey, man, just getting through we had like an ice storm or something last night, like slipping around on the road today, and heard we in the news recently we've seen we talked about the scheduling for marijuana being potentially going down to a Schedule 3. That got hacked. They said nope, died on the house floor.
We'll see where it ends up. It'll probably come up again.
We'll see.
It always does.
Yeah, kind of bummed me out when I saw that, but what's good with
It's
you,
all
man?
right. It's legal here, bro. So you
It
know
is
what?
legal here.
Hey, guess what? Cheers.
Cheers to you, man.
Yes, sir. Oh, you got the high 9 right there. All right.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you got the watermelon. Was that the watermelon half
It's
and
my
half?
favorite. It's my favorite.
I got the caffeine-free pineapple. That's
Hey.
what I got. But that's what I like to hear, man. Levelers, today we are talking blunders. Gaming blunders, entertainment, the botched launches, absolute disasters, straight up dumb fucking decisions that left people shaking their heads. We've all been there, right? But before we get into the chaos, it's time for Leveled Up. Levelers, you know the deal. Hit us up, highlevelchronicles.com or HLC Podcast 420 on your favorite social media. Let us know what you're leveling up on this week. What's in your stash? What's on your screen? What games you're getting lost in? Man, I'll kick it off this week. I've been leveling up on some Crybaby OG. Perfect little hybrid. Funny name, right?
Yeah, no, I like that.
But I've actually been perfect hybrid, man, while I'm trying to literally level up my drumming skills. So I started taking lessons. So we'll see how that goes. But it's definitely a workout. You know what I'm saying? It helps me release some energy, though. Really, really does. I'm struggling, though, with limb coordination. That's where I'm at, with that part. It's rough. You got to move your feet, different beats, one hand, different beat. Hey,
I'm sure it's a good
a lot
workout.
of work.
Yeah,
It's a lot of work. Not even mentally, bro. Not just physically, but mentally.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But also, man, I've actually been playing some Dead by Daylight lately. Again, having fun with that. Been playing some Prop Hunt and Black Ops 6. I mean, I love Prop Hunt. When you just want to chill out and just have some fucking fun, Prop Hunt, Black Ops 6, it's the best thing ever. What big thing, though, for gaming wise, I'm gonna level up for sure. Is I pre-ordered E25, comes out next month, so I can't wait.
Nice, man.
So, Paul, what's been on the rotation for you?
Yeah, so I have been smoking some of they call it the OG Kush. I know there's 1,000 of them, but and getting into, I think I'm a little bit late to the party, to Shogun on FX, and I know that I think it won like a bunch of awards. I'm only on like episode 2, I think I just finished, but I'm all about it. Also, I can't hear you, Chris. And,
Can't hear me?
There you go. Yeah.
I was silently talking to myself.
And I been playing this new game. It only came out like 2 months ago, and I was like, it's came out as like, this is the next MMORG, the descendant of EverQuest and World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2,
God.
Elder Scrolls Online, like games that I've loved and I've spent a lot of time in. Pantheon, and they're like, you know what? We're a small game company. I don't even remember what the name is. We're doing a bunch of independent things. We're trying to recreate some of our favorite games with like a new flavor and stuff. No of the every monthly purchase that you have to do, like the subscriptions for like World of Warcraft or Elder Scrolls, but so I'm like, this is great.
Visionary Realms is the developer of Pantheon.
Okay.
Visionary Realms.
Man, I don't know. Maybe I haven't gotten into it enough. I think I spent about an hour trying to figure it out, and it is bad, man.
It's a blunder.
It's a blunder.
Shit.
Which is apropos for what we're talking about tonight, but it's not a complete game. It's very much like early 2000s graphics with no real clear map or what to do, where to go. Like, you get like a quest in the beginning and then you don't know where the hell the guy is. There's no way to kind of orient yourself in, was a brand new world. Maybe I need to do another hour and just, maybe I haven't gotten into it enough, but I was very underwhelmed with Pantheon. If you guys like Pantheon out there, like, let me know, but
Was it an early release game?
It was, but not what I was playing. It early released in November, December of last year.
Okay. So I'm thinking what you're describing is something like Gray Zone Warfare was an early release game that came out last year, and I thought it was supposed to be this big, hyped up, takeover Call of Duty, right? It's supposed to be so realistic that, but the graphics were horrible. There was no way to tell what you were doing, where you were going, none of that stuff. So it sounds exactly like, even though it was early access when we got it, it's still, I got my money back.
Yeah, I mean, the reviews are overwhelmingly positive. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I just haven't gotten into like where things become more understandable. But it's just, I got an ogre. He's hitting people with a club. Like, and by people, I mean like little rats or shit. It's like level 1. And I was like, this, and like it's very dark. I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. So again, maybe I'm missing something. I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm very close to requesting a refund. And I don't know if it's really up to the level of some of the ones that we're going to be talking about tonight. Some real historic blunders. So
yeah, nah, it's not on that level. These are minor blunders compared to some of the shit.
Right.
But what about levelers, man?
Yeah.
You doing anything out there? Or what you said the game. What about you? What are you leveling up on right now? I saw you had a high 9. You got anything else good in your system?
Yeah, I was smoking some OG Kush. Shit, what they say.
Wait, from who? What company?
Oh, I don't.
You don't even know.
It's from like Cure Leaf, I think. But
I didn't know if it was like Khalifa Kush or...
Yeah, no, just
okay. That's Snoop Dogg's favorite strain.
All right. Anyway, yeah, we got a few level up coming in. So first, we'll start off with Jenny from the B. Says, I've been leveling up on some concentrate called lemon cookies, and wow, tastes amazing. Puts me in the zone for watching the new season of The Night Agent.
Ooh, I forgot that was out. Night Agent is a great show. It's a guy that he gets hired within the CIA, and his only job is if that phone rings, you answer it. He sits in a basement with a phone, and the phone never has rang in years, and then all of a sudden it rings. It's almost you got to watch. It's so good. It's a great show. Season 2 just came out. So that's what I'm assuming she's referring to. I'm assuming it's a she. We only have 2 genders now. So yeah, you're a she. Jenny, I'm saying you're a she. Zone Night Agent. Yeah, definitely got to watch it.
Might have to check it out then.
If you like that kind of like drama, thriller type, If you ever watched The Recruit.
No.
Oh, you haven't seen that either? Oh man, you're missing out. Some Netflix greats.
There's a lot of stuff I know I want to watch on Netflix.
You've seen Arcane, though.
I've seen Arcane. Have you finished that, by the way?
I'm in the middle of season 2 right now. I only get a chance to watch it every so often in between. Like, usually it's on the weekends or something if, like, we're not doing something or, if I'm not working on podcast shit, editing, if I just want to take a break from something, then I'll throw it on, chill back here in the office and just watch it because she said she keeps saying she gonna watch it, but she ain't watched it yet. She ain't watched the first episode. So I told her I wasn't waiting no more.
All right. Otherwise, we have Michael L. He says, I've been vibing with some Pineapple Express, a classic, never lets me down. I've also been diving back into some Elden Ring because apparently I enjoy pain. Michael L. I feel that. I feel that in my soul. I enjoy, and when I needed a break, I checked out Invincible Season 2. Bruh, that show is wild. It really is. Have you seen Invincible? Either seasons? Highly recommend it. In terms of like animated shows, it's one of my favorite on Amazon. And then last but not least, we have Matador Hughley, who says, I got my hands on some Cherry Funk, so I have been floating. Been replaying Cyberpunk 2077. That's actually, playable and I'm sure we'll get into that as well.
That's on my list.
Yeah. I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of some old school gaming consoles. Some of them did not age well, my guys. Commercials. Old school gaming commercials. He says it didn't age well. I've seen some N64 commercials recently that just kind of like pop up on my feed. Not bad. Not bad.
Do you remember those weird PS3 ads? Like they had a bunch of ads they put out for the PS3 to promote, and there was one. It was a creepy baby doll one. Still freaks me out, that ad. Oh man, y'all got to remember that one. Weird freaking baby doll sitting like it was sitting and just staring at the PlayStation in front of it, like a baby doll. Do you remember that? And then its eyes
Sounds
like opened
kind of
up.
familiar. Dude, we should probably do a history of like sort of the history of like gaming ads. There's a whole interview that I saw about the Super Nintendo and why the Super Nintendo is better than the original NES, and they're talking about it like it's the next thing in tech, not like it's it's for gaming. And It's just like, casual gamers may enjoy the NES and the content that offers, but if you're more of an extreme gamer, the Super Nintendo really has some groundbreaking things. 8-bit sound system, shit like that. And I was just like, God, it must have been like in the early '90s or something that was, and they're just, the way they talked about it seems so foreign than like the way that you and I or other people would talk about games in 30 years later.
Do you remember the AOL, the AIM commercials? There was AIM like to promote AIM as AOL Instant Messenger back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Oh my God.
Speaking of,
bro, some of these, we could do a whole
shit.
episode on old commercials that were just, prime in their time.
AIM no longer exists. Like they shut the whole program down.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense. I mean, you could just play Words with friends and like have a little chat system there with, people. Like it's everywhere, but at the time in late 90s, early 2000s, it was so novel. I mean, I was in AIM all the time in like middle of high school.
Yep. I met a few girls on AIM.
Same here.
Back in the day.
What a wild time.
Back in the day, yo.
Yeah.
All right, levelers. Keep sending it in what you've been leveling up on. Who knows? Yours may make it on an episode. But today's episode is all about the biggest blunders in gaming and entertainment. Let me tell you, we have some wild ones to go over. Paul, I'm going to start with a personal gaming blunder of mine.
Hit me.
And it's kind of hard for me to even admit this nowadays. I sold off my entire original NES collection, from the console, the gun, controllers, probably 20, 30 games, all original, all in all their own original cases. Literally sold it for pennies on the dollar in my 20s just in order to make rent and shit.
That is brutal.
Big personal blunder about how much that could be worth right now.
But yeah, like to collectors and shit, especially if it's still operational. Like
it worked perfectly. There was no issues whatsoever.
You didn't have to
Every
do the big
game worked.
Just blowing.
They even tell you on the back of those cartridges, do not blow in the cartridge. It's a big warning label right on the back of it. On the back of every game. Yeah.
Insertion. I don't know. Everyone. N64 was my big blowing game where everyone had their own style. You got to do it or you got to do it, everyone had, and it always would work for them. It's like, oh, you're not blowing on it correctly when you weren't supposed to do that at all.
You don't know how to blow. I know how to blow.
Right. Oh yeah. Blowing competitions.
Not those kind. We're talking in the 90s.
Oh yeah. PG guys.
Blowing
PG
competitions
program.
in the 90s were much different than blowing competitions in the 2000s. But you know what? Since I brought up gaming, let's just start with gaming, man. Start with the obvious. You can't talk about blunders without mentioning Cyberpunk 2077. The launch. I mean, the hype was fucking astronomical. I mean, they hyped this game literally to the fucking moon, but the disappointment was even bigger. I mean, bro, they had Keanu Reeves. They had the futuristic vibes, and then they had bugs for days. I'm talking NPCs like T-posing, like no eyes on some of them, or a face missing, cars just falling through the fucking map. I mean, glitches out the ass. People on last gen consoles really got done dirty. Like, this was made for both, right? But it really even I had the brand new Xbox. What is it, the Xbox X? I had that, the top, and it was made for that, and it still was so fucking shit, I couldn't even play it. Still to this day pissed about that. I've talked about it before, but Sony even pulled it from the PlayStation Store, and it took years, literally years of patches to get it even into decent shape.
Yeah, I think we had talked about that a few episodes back where, and we had a leveler say it today that like, it's finally able to be played. And this is what, like years, after was the release, 2022 or something like that, but it's, and I think it to like this day, like this is the one that's talked
2020.
about. Oh, so we even further back. So it only took about 4 years.
Yeah, they had to drop. It was actually about 3 years. They had
3
to
years.
drop. They had to drop 1 million patches. They gave out refunds. It was a whole mess. But hey, like you said, 3 years later, at least it's good now, right? That Matador Huey, is that what it was?
Hughley, yeah, something like
Whatever
that.
it
Yeah.
was. You were at Matador, got that. But you know what was even worse? The Xbox One launch. That was the TV era. Microsoft really said, hey, forget gaming. We're just on a media fucking hub now.
So I've never been an Xbox owner. So tell me about that and why it was so terrible.
Bro, they had, they for one, it was the $500 price tag at the time, right? I mean, bigger. And then the big thing was the DRM nonsense. Always online. It had to always be connected online for, digital rights. Sony took one look at and hit them with the legendary, here's how you share games on PS4 video. That point in time is when Sony kind of took over the console realm. You know what I mean? Like Xbox fumbled so hard. They had to do a whole entire rebrand. And yeah, it wasn't good.
Yeah, for a while there, you had the Nintendo, which is just a giant, but has a certain type of audience they cater to, and it was always competing with the PlayStation, and then Xbox burst on the scene, and now you had this sort of three-way. But I feel like Xbox has kind of declined since then. I mean, it's bounced back,
Xbox, I think.
but it definitely had a
Yeah.
low point there, where it was just kind of Nintendo and but the Nintendo with like the Wii's and the Wii U kind of had a lower point there too.
One of those might be on my list. Or I might have an honorable mention with a Wii U. Yeah, that Xbox, see, they go back and forth. See, PS4, or the PS5 fumbled on its launch. They didn't even have any, it went all to scalpers. So everybody switched to Xbox so you could get them. So it goes back and forth. That's why I prefer PC nowadays.
Yeah, no, me too. And I feel like that is probably where I've seen the least amount of like failed launches and stuff. I don't know if just because it's more streamlined there and it's all online and it's like this Steam platform is a real good way to streamline games like straight into your PC. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure.
But the consoles are still out there, and we'll talk about probably the Switch 2 and in a little bit when we get some more information about that and whatever else is coming out from Sony and Microsoft
And Sega.
Yeah, and let me talk about Fallout 76. So this is came out after Fallout 4. So this, we've had this entire real like top tier series of games. Fallout 4, I think, sold the most than anything else, and Bethesda has become this legendary company of just popping out games, but also kind of known for their bugs. Fallout 76 just had
2018, by the way.
2018. So yeah, so this is probably I don't think they made any more Fallouts after this, but just how bad it was. But you had bugs everywhere. You had crashes. You had either invisible enemies or too many enemies. It actually was credited for bricking some laptops that you just had it on your computer, and that was it. Like it was so riddled with so much shit. Your laptop, as whether you want to use it for surfing or gaming, or it's gone. You've got to have a new device now. And it was and it
I was really that's a game that I bought. I was really looking forward to it. Because a lot of it was based in West Virginia. You know what I mean? On Fallout 76. But the thing was, Bethesda tried turning Fallout into a multiplayer survival game, but it launched. There were no NPCs, like zero. Like you said, countless bugs. Some of the most broken mechanics I've ever played in a game. Oh, that $200 Power Armor Edition? that came with a cheap fucking nylon bag instead of the promised, canvas leather one or whatever it was. Yeah.
God, I did see some of the stuff that you could buy.
Yep, dude, they fumbled that so hard. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the stuff, though, the way it was advertised and when it would get there is, I don't know. I watched this video just kind of dunking on it, and it was pretty bad.
I forgot, actually, until you mentioned it, I didn't even think about it because I just put it in the back of my mind now with Fallout, but horrible.
Yeah, right, because
Horrible.
it's like the real low point in what is like a very successful franchise. Even like the developer room got hacked, and they banned this guy's account, but then they're like, actually, can you show us how you did that? Like, our security isn't great. And it actually was so bad and so hyped up and overpriced that it led to a class action lawsuit of people wanting their money back. And so
Guess who was part of that?
Well, there you go. I have a lot of love for Bethesda, and I have very mixed feelings on Todd Howard, their guy, but it seemed like it was too little too late in what they were trying to do to fix it. They gave like 500 atoms, which is the in-game currency.
Right.
which is like nothing. Like a lot of things cost, in the thousands of
2,500, 3,000.
Yeah. So here's 500 atoms, go away, shut up, and then go to our atomic store and give us more money. Give us for stupid little like emoticons, and they would advertise things as like, oh, this was like 2,400 atoms, and now it's half price, but it was never actually 20 atoms. It was just whatever the price was. So they would like, it was like, I guess, downright illegal marketing practices that they had.
Pretty much.
Yeah, for something that's, people are just trying to escape and relax, and definitely one of the worst. If it ends in a class action lawsuit, you done fucked up. Like, that's as bad as it can get as a resolution.
That's for sure. Another company that's fumbled big time is Konami. And yes, I'm about to bring up Silent Hill's PT. And if you don't know what that is, we had Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, Norman Reedus. I mean, PT scared the fucking souls out of people. And it was shaping up to be something legendary, like literally going to be a great game. And then Konami came in and said, nah, we're good. We're just going to make pachinko machines instead. Then they deleted PT from the PlayStation Store, making it impossible to re-download if you didn't have it or already had it and maybe had taken it out to make room for something else. Fans are still mad. And those consoles that had PT on it, they sold for thousands, dude, like thousands of dollars on eBay and other platforms. So they fumbled that. That could have turned into a lot for them.
Was it like a quality game, though?
Yes. Yes, everything was perfect for it.
So
it was
weird.
Going great. Yes, it was great. Nothing, no, yeah, that was a big fumble.
I think
big blunder.
There is a game, though, that they fumbled terrifically and was able to turn it around, and that was No Man's Sky.
I never played that.
I haven't either, but I was looking at it, and it's actually something that I might be putting on my list just before that, how they turned it around.
I've heard a lot about it.
Well, it made the news for all the wrong reasons. But they started out...
That's what I'm saying.
Had said that, we're going to have 18 quintillion different planets that you can visit, which is like, I can't even, I don't know how many zeros is in a quintillion, but it's a lot. And I was like, well, now that's crazy. That's really, that's unreal. That's a lot of content. But they were mostly filled with like nothing. So you would like travel the stars, and I guess as in real life, you might just see a planet and there's nothing there. A lot of the graphics were pretty bad. And it had a leak where this game came out for maybe $60, but you could get it 2 weeks early. A guy paid $1,300 for a copy of No Man's Sky and like beat it really fast, streamed it. It's like, hey, I got this game and it's out, or got it before it's out. And they had a funny line that they would have for their multiplayer where they're like, is it multiplayer? And the guy would be like, yeah, sort of. And then they would come out with these tweets of like, this is this is definitely a multiplayer game, but functionally it's not, because you need to find your friend in like this endless universe. And he's like, the chance of running into someone is like 0. So functionally it's not a multiplayer game.
Hey, so tell me, pick a number, any number, just say a number out loud.
74.
74. Add 18 zeros. Now you have 74 quintillion. It's 18 zeros.
Woo! So like, in a way, it's kind of commendable that it's like, well, that's kind of like the real universe. Like, it's ever expanding. There's tons of shit out there, but most of it is nothing. And, they had like ways to jump from like different star systems and things, but that's kind of misleading when it's like, oh, we'll have a multiplayer function, but not really. You'll never find your friend in the endless universe.
And it has no endpoint, right? From what I remember, there's no endpoint in that game because it's almost impossible to ever end. I mean, if you have, how many did you say?
18 quintillion.
Quintillion variations of planets? You'd never be able to finish. I don't care. You could. Right now, you would never have the time.
Yeah.
So that's actually kind of, and for that game to come out in 2016, that's pretty. I mean, that's pretty cutting edge. You know what I mean? To be able to come up and do something like that.
Yeah, and that was all the marketing. That it's like, we'll have all this content, but not really. We'll just have endless maps of kind of randomly generated, like environmental whatever, but there won't be any NPCs on it. There won't be any like quests or things to do on it. Like, it's just kind of an exploration game, and that's not really what it's supposed to be. I mean, eventually went down to like $1 at GameStop. There was, and this is, some people say it's fake, some people it's not, but a video of a guy destroying a GameStop trying to get a full refund of the $60. And
that's got to be fake.
Yeah. There are a lot of people trying to reach out to the developers, and they just get silence back, or they get these sort of weird half answers of what like could have been a real amazing game, and ended up fixed everything, added more content, added the actual multiplayer system, graphics, more customization. It's on multi-platforms. And I saw,
Brits.
Is that a British company? Is that
yes? Hello Games is a British developer.
Hello Games. That's what it is. Yeah. And so I saw the finished product as a promo, and I was like, that does look pretty good.
It did look good.
Yeah. There's a couple that, and I'm forgetting the name of what Bethesda just did, Star Space or something. But there's a couple like space games out there right now that are. I just got into an early beta space game not too long ago that I got to play. It was pretty cool. I can't think of the name of it. I'll have to think about it while we're talking. It'll eventually come to me. Starfield. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, you're thinking of Starfield? Nah, this was. I can't remember what it was. It was a game. It's like an open world, like, again, a never-ending universe type thing. I can't remember what it was called. It wasn't long. It was just last year. I just played
Outer
last
Worlds?
year. No,
it's just been out.
I don't remember what it was called. It'll come to me eventually.
So a lot of these, with Cyberpunk 2077 and No Man's Sky, they do sort of have endings where it's like, it's playable, but it really shouldn't be something where the price tag really sets the expectations of how good these games are going to be. And if you're going to do like a $60, $70 price tag, people are going to have a certain level of expectation. It's, I guess, good in the end that they're able to fix some of these and do day one patches, and then, dozens of other patches to make the game sort of what they promised. It's a lot of these just come down to being rushed, updates.
Yep.
And I don't know why that seems to be a common theme in these games that come out, and they're like, well, like Civ 7 dropped today, and a lot of negative reviews of what should have been like the best Civilization game, and they. And sort of, I don't know how familiar you are with that franchise, but it was a lot of very disappointing reviews in the beginning, and then they add expansions and DLCs, and then they make it like a really good game, but it never seems to start that way. And it's just like another one, like, why, who is out here rushing, product drops?
I don't get it. They do it all the time. I mean, like, they never learn from previous issues with this stuff.
Because a lot of this is just it's who's setting that, where why not make a quality game? And then no one's gonna, people might be impatient and say, well, they're taking so long to come out with this. But I'd be more happy than having a game in 2020 and have it be playable in 2024, 2025. Like that's like kind of like sad in a way, but I don't know.
Yep.
What about you? Any other big blunders?
Oh, yeah, dude. For games, any Battlefield fans out there? I mean, you got to talk about Battlefield 2042, right? That game was so bad they had to add a classic Battlefield mode just to get people to play. No campaign, busted mechanics. They turned the scoreboard into DLC. ICE dropped the campaign, filled the game with bugs, removed key features from previous games like a server browser. They launched, I think, with one of the worst maps in Battlefield history, and I think they abandoned it. Fans, gamers, they just abandoned it almost instantly. Like it never.
Yeah, it's
Horrible.
There's some tough ones, but I know we're also talking about some real big movie flops, of which there is an endless supply of.
There's a lot, yeah. That what do you got for movies? I don't know. Movie flop? What do you think?
I got a few. Have you ever heard of the film Freddy Got Fingered?
Yeah.
I remember being probably like 8 years old or something when this came out. So, and it's a rated R movie, so obviously I didn't see it then, but heard a lot of like weird buzz about it, and nothing positive. And I think you just hear the premise of the film and it's like, oh, that's really gross. Where it's a 28-year-old kind of slacker guy, Tom Green, and his dad is like, what is your life goals? Like, what is your motivation? Like, you're not doing anything with your life. And he gets upset about that and then falsely accuses him of child molestation. That's the plot. And I was like, Jesus Christ, that's probably the worst plot I've ever heard of. Yeah. Just, overwhelmingly offensive. And the reviews really show that. Like, I was looking at some of them. They had a guy from CNN is quite simply the worst movie ever released by a major studio in Hollywood. The Gazette, worst movie ever made. Washington Post, if a movie ever testified to the utter creative bankruptcy of the Hollywood film industry, it is the abomination known as Freddy Got Fingered. And so, it kind of goes on, like the most hated movie ever. But that is a pretty appalling, like, fucking premise.
Yep.
I don't know if there's sort of a redemption arc that they tried to do of, him being, I don't even really know how you fix that if that's your premise. Got a lot of Razzies, worst screenplay, worst on-screen couple, had an 11% at Rotten Tomatoes, and almost lost worst film of the decade. I came in second to Battlefield Earth, the movie, which is another real travesty of a film. That's one that stuck out to me, and I was just like,
so you're going from like
that was 98.
Like pedophilia, rape, kid shit to, I'm sitting here thinking of stuff like The Mummy, 2017. Tom Cruise.
No, I came out with the big guns, baby.
Do you remember The Mummy 2017? Not the 1999 one, not the one with Brandon Fraser. I'm talking about
right, the one that everyone loved, the one with Tom Cruise that everyone hated.
Universal trying to start their own like dark universe with this. Tom Cruise couldn't even save that. I mean, they announced an entire like cinematic universe off a movie that flopped on day one. And I mean, the logo reveal, I think, had more effort than the actual fucking script.
Well, yeah. I mean, you have these sequels that come out and they're almost always worse than the original because they try to just, rest on the laurels of whatever like the Mummy. I feel like the original is like an universally loved film. I've heard girls be like, that was kind of like I saw this Brendan Fraser guy and I started to feel some things and I was just like, oh, damn. He was a good looking guy there, don't get me wrong. So, but yeah, the other one was this very cheesy, campy kind of, like they just try to be like, oh, it's The Mummy. People will come and see it. It's like a cash grab, essentially,
That's all they ever do.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff, like even the games or stuff that get turned into movies, that's what they are, cash grabs for the most part. Some do it right. We've talked about this before. Some don't.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely find good examples.
I think another one would be Justice League. same year, 2017. I guess 2017 was a year for cinematic blunders, but I mean, the mustache, the CGI, the Joss Whedon rewrites. That's what I mean. Henry Cavill's lip looked like a PS2 fucking cutscene. Warner Brothers tried so hard to copy Marvel. Instead, they got Frankenstein's monster, the movie.
Yeah, I'm actually that was a pretty tough one, and that's DC, right? Justice League, and I just feel like they were overwhelmingly just kind of shat on and just inferior to the Marvel movies. Not that all the Marvel movies are good, but I feel at least there's good acting.
No, Marvel has had their flops.
They've certainly had, but if you look at probably like a percentage of what Marvel movies were flops compared to DC, like DC is like across the board. People want to see like Batman versus Superman. Like that sounds really cool when it comes out. And it's like
Sony thought they were going to make an entire Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man. Morbius, Venom 2, what was that? Madame Web. I mean, but I need to continue.
Yeah, those are good examples.
The memes lasted longer than the box office runs.
Yeah. No, I saw Morbius.
I did too. It was bad.
Very upsetting. And I know that eventually you run out of like kind of superheroes, although there's tons in Marvel, and you start to get to some of these like more obscure, I guess. And then it doesn't work. Like people don't have any connection. You have to build a world of who this guy is or woman, and it just doesn't, like, there's that basis, that foundation isn't there. It's like, well, why are we bringing this guy into this universe? And well, where's the guy that we know? And they can't carry it on their own. And I'm looking, I just did a quick search of like 2017 films. A Cure for Wellness.
It was a rough year.
Valerian and the City of 1,000, or the Planet of 1,000 Cities. The Last of the Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Did you like the new Blade Runner? Did you ever see that? 49. I mean, it did all right, but not my thing. 2017 was a rough year. Ironically, yep. I saw a lot of movies in 2017 because I just started dating my now wife, and we're just like, let's go see a movie.
Going on dates.
Saw some of these, and I was like, oh, wasn't the best year. There's some good ones though. But another one that I saw that I was just like, oh, like I don't even know if cash grab is the right word, because it was so. I think people genuinely thought that this would be a good idea when American Idol came out. I don't know how big you were into it, like in 2001 or 2 or something, like where the first season. It was huge. And they're like, let's just ride this and get our 2 biggest stars, so Kelly Clarkson and Justin Guarini, and let's just put them in a movie, and we'll keep writing this good feeling, where they have these thousands of fans and they're voted on every year, and my God, was that awful. That was, again, I was reading some of the reviews of it because I know it was in, and people were, the promos for it was like, oh, they're gonna be singing songs, and it's all like new songs, and everyone loves them, and it just didn't come together, cinematically. Like a $5 million box office, had some definitely featured at the Razzie Awards. The cinematography was not great. Choreography. Clarkson expressed her regret from Justin Kelly, stating that she only did it because she was contractually obligated to. And I knew when I read the script, I knew it was going to be real, real bad, but I'd already signed on and I could not get out of it. So even when the actors come out and be like, yeah, I did something really, really terrible, that's a sign. Because even like sometimes like people be like in a flop movie, it's like, oh no, good relationship with the cast, and we tried this and that, and she's just, no, I was in a real stinker of a film.
Yep. You have any other movies?
No. What do you got? Anything else?
Yeah, not a movie, but the TV series. And I'm talking about Game of Thrones season 8. We had years of build up. And then Danny goes full psycho in 10 minutes. The Night King gets stabbed like he owed Arya fucking money or something. And Brahma ends up king. I mean, it was like fell in a group project, but still getting an A.
I feel like we could probably talk about this for an hour.
I'll never recover from that.
And everyone wanted to be so good. Like I had friends over. We'd watch like the last season.
Dude, it was a huge thing.
Candle. I got into it, and I was just like, "What am I watching right now?" Like, is this just the first 2 episodes of that last season? Just 2 episodes of dialogue, just like the build up. I was like, well, maybe the build up will be good. They're just building it up, and then like, was it?
Yeah, it was not.
They had
a
whole season where Arya was like learning to be like this master of disguise
and this silent killer, like this perfect assassin.
And they didn't do anything with that. There was no wrap up. Like I thought it would have been really cool if she could have like disguised herself as like a Winter Soldier or whatever. Then the Night King, something. And then just in the neck, and people were like, we never. And then she takes off the mask or whatever. I was like, that would have been amazing.
Like if she would have like his the guy with the long hair that was his like counterpart, the Night King's counterpart that was always with him. Like if she could have somehow taken his look on, and then while they were like standing over something done, like it would have been, they could have done so much. It was I feel like it was rushed. Like, oh, here, let's just throw something together. Because it wasn't even that. It was just because he didn't even write. He took so long to write everything. They had to make up their own. Is it all
George R.R. Martin's fault?
But they had to make up their own storyline. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But like you said, you could talk about Game of Thrones for 3 episodes, but
they have a whole season where they like walk from like one part of the world to the other, and then they do that in like half an episode. And I was just like, oh, like we're literally rushing around like the world, like. We go from one battle and boom, we're at King's Landing, and I guess there's another battle, and Danny doesn't make any sense of her character development of like trying to be this good person, and then like, oh, I'm actually psychotic, and like what?
Yeah, I got a couple other honorable mentions just to throw out there that I think a lot of us forgot about, and I had forgot about a few for doing some research for this episode, but do you remember Google Stadia 2019? They thought they could take over gaming with this cloud-based platform, but they forgot that people actually need good internet for fucking cloud-based gaming, and then they kind of just like abandoned it. Like no exclusives, no real support, just a whoops, our bad, shut down.
Yeah, I think that people don't realize like kind of the fandoms and the loyalty and of gamers, where there's millions of people who...
I don't want to cut you off, but I do. You mentioned fandoms. Next week's episode, or the next episode is...
Yeah.
We're going to be talking fandom, so...
A little foreshadowing,
Yeah.
But, you gotta have a pull there. You can't just be like, we're a gaming system. And what makes you special? There are things about Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox and PC stuff that makes them kind of stand out from each other.
Yep.
If you're just be like, oh, we're a tech company, so we can do tech things, like any tech thing. It's maybe you could if you tried. But...
Yep. Another honorable mention, man, I got to go with is Anthem. You remember Anthem, that game? BioWare's attempt at a live like service looter shooter was boring, repetitive, broken. I mean, the story was weak. The loot system fucking sucked, bro. The game had no meaningful end game whatsoever, and EA eventually killed the planned Anthem, I think it was called Anthem Next overhaul, officially dooming it. So,
yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to pull the plug on that.
Yeah. Overwatch 2 is another one I want to throw out because Blizzard hyped Overwatch 2 as this big, massive sequel to Overwatch, which is a great game, but it turned out to be pretty much Overwatch 1.5, like with a canceled PvE mode, predatory monetization system. That was one that really started that whole fucking pay to win shit. They ditched loot boxes but made skins way more expensive, like literally do $15 to $20 for a single skin. And not to mention they hid all the characters behind a paywall before that. So
how much would you say the original cost was?
Well, the game was free.
Okay, so it's a free game and then you pay for all of it. Yeah.
But they did everything. They had all that stuff. So, but I guess that's why Marvel Rivals was created, to come in and try to save the day. But, Yeah, Overwatch 2 was one. It's still a good game. Don't get me wrong. People like playing it. It's a great game. But the way they started off with it, they don't do it now. They learn from their fucking mistakes. They don't do it now. When they release this new stuff, they're not hiding everybody behind paywall, but the skin, their pricing's still outrageous. It's still expensive as hell to buy anything on there if you want, in their currency. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
And I'm actually on my Blizzard launcher right now, and you can get Overwatch too. I don't even see original Overwatch up there though.
I don't know. I think it was taken off support. And then I have a throwback one for you. 1982, the year I was born. Made in the 80s, baby. Made in the 80s. But Atari tried to release a game. Well, they released the game, E.T. E.T. was huge, the video game. The problem was, still to this day, they haven't learned, right? They literally buried itself. Atari rushed the game out, E.T., in 5 weeks. 5 weeks total to make this game and have it ready for the holiday season. And that's
why they may have rushed you to go, because that was the big thing, is you go out and you buy the game.
They rushed it, but it was so bad, they literally buried all the fucking unsold copies they were stuck with in the desert.
That may be worse than a class action lawsuit of this is worth more buried out of our, warehouse and storage.
That was, wow. And I got to say, man, we're talking about blunders. And before we do, close out this episode, can we count? It's a dark humor, people. I'm going to preface this, but I don't even know if I want to say. Can we count the Titan submersible, given it was actually piloted with a fucking Xbox controller?
Jesus Christ. I mean, it's a blunder for sure. Where people died. I mean, we didn't have anyone where people died from our blunders.
They used the gaming controller. They were using the fucking, it was like a Logitech Xbox version, I think is what it was. I think it was a Logitech.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Bro, it was so, one you could literally, a $30 fucking controller you can buy online. I don't know, man. Looking back, it's crazy how many of these blunders could have been avoided. You know what I mean? Rushing games, ignoring feedback, and just straight up greed. You know what I mean? They seem to be the main culprits, and yet we keep coming back. We hope, we cope, we get burned, repeat. I guess that is the gamer life, right?
Yeah. That's why when we find one that we love, we hang on to that.
Absolutely. Levelers, we've covered some historical gaming and entertainment failures today. Let us know what we missed. Hit us up, highlevelchronicles.com. We're on social media at HLC Podcast 420. Let us know your biggest entertainment gaming blunders. Maybe you had some personal blunders like I did. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a part 2 of this episode. If you all got some good ones, I mean, we could literally sit here and talk for hours about
for sure
all the fucking blunders. But
hit some highlights there, but there's definitely more that we could talk about.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, next week, we're going to be talking next week. I keep saying next week, next episode.
Next time,
we're going to be talking fandoms. So with that, we're wrapping it up. Any last words?
Stay leveled, baby.
As always, keep your highs chill, your game's glitch free. And as always, like Paul said, stay leveled up. We are out.
Thanks for listening to High